guys, Zillard here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays, and what I have for you today is the McFarlane Toys Spawn Series 3 Ninja Spawn. Now before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, let us move right along to the accessories. First up, Ninja Spawn does come with this big old honkin' sword. Next up, he comes with this pair of nunchucks. It should be worth noting that these can store on his backpack. As well as these other two big old honkin' swords, which can also store in his backpack. And last but certainly not least, the Ninja Spawn does come with a quote-unquote removable mask, and I say quote-unquote because once you put it on, you pretty much can't take it off, or you risk tearing it like I unfortunately did, which is news to me because I've had one of these before and that didn't happen. But because this is an old McFarlane figure, the rubber used for the ninja mask is that of a bad condom and will tear if you try to pull it off. Jokes aside, I have provided an image of what the figure looks like unmasked from the back of the packaging, and unlike some promotional images for old vintage action figures from back in the day, the ones McFarlane gave us for this Spawn line are pretty spot on to what we actually received in the package. So with that being said, let us now move on to the aesthetics and articulation. Taking a closer look at our Ninja Spawn here, and yeah, pretty loaded for a vintage Spawn figure. He has quite a few accessories indeed, but with that being said, this guy's almost got a G.I. Joe Classified vibe going on, because you can literally store every single one of them on the figure, which is pretty sweet. With the exception of the one sword, which doesn't actually have a place to go unless you put it back here maybe. Everything attaches to the figure in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes permanently, as far as this mask goes. Again, I tried to take this off, and I just kind of tore it a little bit. So I'm going to leave it on there. I know I have another one of these, or had another one of these, where I did actually get the mask off. But, you know, that's how good this old Spawn stuff really is. So all you guys complaining about the new stuff, get one of these and then come talk to me, you know. But at any rate, I didn't mention he has a couple shurikens on his leg. They do peg on there, but he can't really hold those, so I didn't really count those as accessories. But they do come off, and you can, I guess, maybe put them in this hand. I don't know, I've never had any success with that, but he does have a couple oddly shaped shurikens there. But at any rate, as far as articulation on this guy goes, his head can rotate. Be careful you don't want to tear the mask. But it can look side to side. The manga Spawn, Ninja Spawn, I should say, comes with a cloth mask, so if you had another one of those, that would probably fit fine on this guy. The shoulders have a hinge joint, so they can actually go out. Go back down. He does have a bicep swivel. Little bit of a Mortal Kombat vibe going on with this guy. With the whole vest and whatnot. Almost looks like a cobra here. Which is kind of cool. Then on this arm, since he doesn't have a bicep bracelet, they just put the cut at the glove. Not sure why they didn't just do that on this side. Keep things consistent, but that wasn't the name of the game at good old McFarlane Toys in the mid-90s. No siree. You got asymmetrical articulation and you liked it, whether you did or didn't. He does have a waist swivel, and then he has stupid Ninja Turtle legs, so he's got one foot that's kind of bent, and then one foot that's flat. It's about my only gripe with this figure is he's in this stupid kind of walking pose. Because you're not gonna look. I'll pay money for anyone who actually gets their figures to stand with these bent toe poses. I've never been able to do it. I don't have the patience for it. I'm not bad at standing my figures up. I could pretty much stand up most, if not all, the stuff I buy, for the most part. There's a few rare exceptions, but this bent toe crap on some of these old 90s figures, I just can't do it, man. But he does have forward and back leg movement, though. It's not like a V-cut or something. It's not really useful like that. So that's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, he is pre-posed, and it kind of sucks, because this is probably one of the stronger figures from the old Spawn line, albeit with that mask issue. The only other thing wrong with it is that pre-posed foot there. It's not even really the other foot. If this foot was flat, this figure would be aces, in my opinion. It still kind of is. He's a really strong figure in the old Spawn line. Probably one of the strongest I've taken a look at on the channel that's outside of the initial first couple of waves, which I haven't really taken a look at a bunch of those, but, you know, whenever I talk about vintage Spawn, that's typically what I consider the pinnacle, is the first two waves. The quality is a little bit better. The articulation is kind of whatever, but they don't have this pre-posed nature about them. You can pretty much stand them straight up and down regardless. So, with that being said, let us now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is Ninja Spawn, next to a more traditional Spawn, Spawn 1 from Spawn Series 1, albeit without his cape, but hey, better than nothing, right? And last, but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus. 11 Spawn, as usual, towers over everyone. So with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and while I do understand that this figure is dated and has its shortcomings, particularly with the quality of his rubber removable mask and that pre-posed Ninja Turtles syndrome he's got going on in the legs, I still really like this figure, and I think it's one of the better offerings from the vintage Spawn line. So if you're at all interested in picking up some vintage Spawn figures, I would definitely add this one to the list. He comes with a plethora of accessories, at least as far as this line is concerned. We're usually not used to seeing stuff like this. It's usually just more plastic in the box on the figure itself, not really the amount of stuff they come with. So that in and of itself is pretty cool. That, and I dig the Mortal Kombat aesthetic of this figure. He definitely looks like he could go toe to toe with good old Scorpion and Sub-Zero from the MK universe. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays, and if you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. And if you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.